Hello, and everyone, welcome to Wildin Out. I am your host, Marty B, and joining me, I have the Rotted Zombie, Seth, and special guest, 6J. Rotted, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Always a pleasure to be here, and I think we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah, we definitely do. Seth?
I'm feeling pretty good. Just got out of a long day of classes. Some of the best news I've heard in a while.
We're about to get that in a second. Jay, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Much better now that I've seen the announcement that I guess we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, we have Nerf announcements that were given less than an hour ago, right?
Yep.
So we're seeing 5 Nerfs, a card ban, a redesign, and 7 buffs. So I don't know about you guys, but I think we know what the ban is.
Crystallizer.
Just delete Crystallizer from the game, the end.
Pillar of Souls, but a second time.
It's
Yes.
double banned. Ooh, controversial.
Yes, high controversy there.
It has to be
But yeah.
Demon Seed, right?
Yes, absolutely. If it's not Seed,
They're going to make a lot of people angry.
Oh yeah.
If
They saw the backlash last time. It's going to be so much worse if they don't nerf Seed now, or if they don't ban Seed now.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
they're obviously not banning for standard, right? So it has to be Seed.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are pretty sure on the Seed ban. Other than that, the redesign, it seems like that's going to be a Lucio, because of what many people have been speculating. So that won't be too much of a surprise. Outside of that, the nerfs, it's just Warlock, Shaman, and Demon Hunter. Mythical Rod is likely getting hit in Warlock. Perpetual Flame is likely getting hit in Shaman. That has a small effect in Wild, because Overload Shaman, a less popular deck, plays Perpetual Flame, and it's pretty much the second best answer the class has to any aggressive start. First being Lurgle Toxfin, right?
Yeah.
And there's also a Demon Hunter nerf in there, but I don't know what that means. I've never seen the class in Wild, so it's irrelevant.
I mean, It could be something like brute to 8, maybe.
Yeah, just gently increase the cost of brute to slow
Now,
it down slightly in standard.
Brute.
I've seen Demon Hunter one time, and it was brute, and it was clearly a problem because I
Wow.
lost. So
That's it. Pull the handbrake. We're done.
If
Well,
Brute is going,
H has 100% win rate in Wild confirmed.
yeah, if Brute goes up to 8, that means it's effectively deleted in Wild, in my opinion. Because you can't play a card if it's even costed in Demon Hunter and Wild.
That's just the rules. We don't make them. We just enforce them.
Just
Mhm.
a bit just to make it a bit more concise, you can't play Demon Hunter in Wild. End of sentence.
Oh no. What an odd thing to say.
Sorry,
Eh?
that's really you've had
Would
too
it
much. You've complimented Steeler a little bit too much.
would it be possible to ask a standard
Not
question, even though it's a wild show? Because it has
Go for it.
implications. It's mostly a question of you, Marty, because I don't doubt others here would be able to answer it successfully, but I look to you for a lot of standard questions as well. When people look to redesign Mindrender Lucia, what are some of the likely outcomes of that process?
So Lucy is one of those cards where they have to redesign entirely because there's a belief that the card would even see play at 5 mana. Because we know we played Time Warp at 5 mana, and that was a quest reward where we had to invest. Lucia is basically Time Warp with just no work to getting it other than drawing the card. And it has a body on top too. So you have to change the card entirely, and I'm not sure how a redesign would work effectively. I remember Corbeck having a redesign suggestion on Twitter a while back, and it was actually liked by Alec, the lead game designer for the final design team.
Well, that's right. The
So
one where it was like take a copy of your opponent's hand or something like that for the remainder of the turn.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to
So
wait and see what, if any, wild implications it may have as other decks get picked up that could potentially run it again. Although I suppose
yeah,
it does see play in Shadow Priest, but yeah.
yeah. I know. Our operator Fish was wondering if this is the first redesign or if we've had other redesigns in the past. We have with whatever the card is. All your charge minions have +1 attack.
Warsong
Yes,
Commander.
Warsong Commander.
Yes.
So the card is getting Warsong Commandered, but hopefully it won't be as bad as the original Warsong was. So we'll have to see. Beyond that, though,
You could even say war song or swan song. Only time will tell. Eh?
you got me there. Well, we have a lot to discuss, though. Let's move to Player of the Week. Rotted. This is a friend of yours, actually, and of the rest of us, too. Who's our NA Player of the Week?
Our NA Player of the Week is one and only the concerned mother of Hearthstone's wild format. So here's what we got about him. Hair Club's been doing great this season, and so we're looking at a battle here of the top players in THL's Green Wild Conference. The two remaining undefeated teams, Hair Club and Meta Droolers. So after 4 matches with Mom still looking to go, they found themselves locked in a very, very, very tight 11-10 contest, and it came down to Mom and Godbout. And so, in spite of any concerns he may have had or any trepidations about the format, Mom rolled it. He came out on top, reverse sweeping, in fact, Godbout's aggro priest to clutch it out for Hair Club 14-13. And as we're talking about right now, the Player of the Week honors for North America Wild. And so congrats to Mom, obviously, and congrats to the Hair Club on a terrific 5-0 start to the season. Holy moly. And thank you very much, Doc Baum, for that write-up and nomination. Cheers.
Thanks for that, Rod, and thank you, Dr. BOMD, once again, for that write-up. Now, we have EU Player of the Week as well. Seth, can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So everybody's favorite Frenchman, or at least my favorite Frenchman, Hijo, came in as a sub against two of the strongest teams in the Wild EU series. He was facing one of the best players in Lasagna. Everybody knows how nuts he is, who is also the top player in our NA power rankings. And he had the pressure of the entire week resting on his shoulders with their match as the decider. With a clutch match win in 5 games, Hijo sealed the week for a little agony and kept them in first place. So congrats to him and to a little agony.
Yeah. Congrats to them. Look at Corb taking a couple scrappy players and putting a team together, almost like fantasy, where dude somehow took a bunch of free agents and is now first place, and I'm totally not salty about that at all. Uh, Moving on, we're not going to talk about that because it's a sensitive topic.
You'll get
We
them next
have-
time.
Shh, it's fine. It's fine. I control the sheets. I can always manipulate the scores. No one will know. You guys didn't hear anything. But we have the meta overview from last week to go over now. So let's take a look at that chart. So there was a lot going on last week. People have been kind of messing around with different archetypes. After the first few weeks, calm down, we see more fringe archetypes come up for counters. And that's exactly what we're seeing with things like Rogue, where we have a ton of different archetypes that are really fringe, like Mill Rogue and Reno Rogue, even Apothecary Rogue, coming in, trying to target a certain lineup sometimes, and hoping for the best. So overall, we have Demon Hunter's numbers cut in half, -3 there. Druid bringing one more deck compared to last week. Hunter increasing quite a bit, +8 brings. Mage dropping 7 brings, down from 43. Paladin Priest both rising slightly. Rogue staying about the same. Shaman and Warlock both dropping. Warlock peaked 2 weeks ago and has been dropping since. It's tough to say whether this is because nerfs or if people are just bored with the class. And finally, Warrior still hovering around the 70 to 75 brings mark. How are you guys feeling about this? Jay, we haven't heard much from you yet. What do you
Right.
think?
Honestly, I mean, I think as we all know, Warlock is still good. But I think now that we've been moving a few weeks into things, we may start seeing more people be thinking more deliberately about what we can do in a band seed lineup. It opens up a lot of space for things like, I guess, Malagos Druid to some extent, Big Priest. So I just think that we're more used to dealing with the seedlock meta and better able to plan out game plans other than just like going full aggro trying to beat seedlock.
Yeah, we've seen a couple different rotations now through people testing stuff like that. We've seen Big Priest a little bit coming through, and a few people even bringing Odd Pirate Warriors to try to counter the counter. And regardless, though, Warlock and Warrior are still the overwhelming 1-2 slots, and then you sort of have potpourri below that. I think you're exactly right. We're just going to have to see how the meta develops once, knock on wood, the Demon Seed is banned.
One other thing to point out is that we have six token druids, so 6 tagger lineups.
Yeah, 6 tagger lineups. We're actually going to something I actually mentioned in a blog coming later this week on PPR. The tagger lineup of, what was it? Seed Warlock, Token Druid, Odd Paladin, and Pirate Warrior. Is that right?
Yep, exactly.
It's been a pretty common trend where people just steal taggers lineup, say it's pretty good, and hope for the best. And it's been doing well for them. So keep an eye on that
I
lineup.
don't like the term stealing. I like the
Okay,
term using your advantages.
Can anyone really own a deck?
No,
Oh, no.
unless you're Tagger.
I don't know. This is like saying, can you make a wild meta report without Memnarch? Is
I
it
don't think
really
anyone's ever
possible?
tried. Yeah.
Stop this sacrilege.
We should just invent a single unified meta report amongst all of these different organizations and just make Memnarch do the whole thing.
Well, he's a bot after all. It would make sense.
Yeah, he can farm that stuff all day.
Indeed.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
This has been confirmed by one Twitter poll.
Over 20, what was it, over 30 people voted him as a bot.
We had
Yeah.
I had 150 votes at the end.
Okay, so it was like 100 votes out of 150. There you go. So, Memnarch
Well-
bot confirmed.
We'll just have to get Jimmy 3500 on this show to have his take next time, or their take.
Yeah, most likely. Oh, I've been talking a lot about decks, and to me, 3500 would be sad to know that we don't have an even shaman to feature. But this week we do have two other really cool decks, and the first one is one from Otters. Let's take a look at that. So this is one of Otters' favorite decks right here. Okay, he actually got in trouble last season because he brought a banned card at the time. It's Otters' Dragon Rogue. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know, you combo to get Necro Apothecary out. It takes the Death Rattle from Deathwing, Dragon Lord, and then you activate the Death Rattle, and it summons a bunch of dragons from your hand, and you win. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen this in action, and it's one of the funniest things to witness when you're playing it.
Facts have proven that only otters can win with this deck.
It's true. It really
He's
is.
the
And
only person skilled enough to draw Necrium on 4 every game.
You need to
I
draw
think-
counterfeit coin on, or actually it's double counterfeit coin, regular coin, Necrium on 1.
Legend has it too that this actually sent someone to rehab because he apothecaried them in 1 so hard. They saw Nozdormu,
Oh no.
and yeah, they were taken away to the loony bin. So it is quite the deck. But as we said, it's all based on apothecary. You know, you hope you draw it. If you don't, so what? You have a bunch of dragons to play. It's still pretty cool. And you hope you get it next time. So great job, Otters. This is quite the deck.
You
And
did it, buddy.
I can't believe you baited everyone into crafting Deathwing Dragon Lord a few months back with this deck. Hats off to you.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, second deck is a pet deck from another player in THL. I'm actually going to be facing them this week myself. This is from Labore Sangre, and this is a giant shaman. So this is something he's been working on. Yeah, this is something he's been working on for months. Okay. Yes, Pasca used his resources and found this deck under Labore's deck lists and decided, I like this deck. I think I will take it.
So you just play out the meat wagon and it brings out the spirit of the frog, and then you just go ham, right?
Mm-hmm. Draw a bunch, drop giants, win the game.
Cool. Seems doable. Seems absolutely cuckoo bananas, but I love it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we even have a charged call in here for the extra high roll in case your giants aren't enough.
Oh yeah. And you could send it on through the diligent note taker too if you want to double or nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ooh.
So,
Well, I'm sure you'll be fine this week, my friend. Go get him.
oh, absolutely. See, I had to feature it this week because I know that Labore isn't winning this week, so I wouldn't be able to feature it next week.
Oh, that's very
Just want to
magnanimous
get
of
out
you.
of the way. Yeah. You know, very kind. But Cool build. Very unique take on this archetype. Usually people go more for burn. And it's fun to see someone go in a slightly different direction with something that they've toiled on for a while and had success with.
Also, let's just point out 3,500 dust. Actually, really cheap by modern wild standards.
Yeah, it's super cheap. Like, this is cheaper than most odd even decks right now.
Yeah, good point. No legendaries and not very epic heavy either.
Yeah, of course, because you need Baku and then patches for the Reaver Ryan special.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there was a sighting recently. So the legend of Ryan lives on.
Ryan's in top 100 now.
Oh, you know what that means. Odd Pally is back.
Better break out the
Exciting stuff.
unidentified malls.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting stuff. So you gotta wonder how much more Odd Pally are we gonna see in THL then? Who knows? Well, that's it for decks. That's it for archetypes and lineups.
Sweet.
We have conferences to recap now. Let's start with the Brown Conference. 6J, you want to break down the standings for us real quick?
Sure. Right now, the undisputed best team in the conference has regained its rightful spot as best team in the conference. An absolutely staggering lead of 2 whole points after a tight game against Aussie Pain Merchants last week. That may or may not have involved a random ice block. It did. That was really mean, Slight. You hurt my feelings. But beyond that, in a close third, we have Nofin 2, Underwater Boogaloo, and these 3 teams up at the top look like they're in very strong position for playoffs. A bit further down, but not entirely out of the running, we still have Mancrick's Revenge, Wild THL Fanatics, Bash Bros, and then the Pog Merchants. I know the Pog Merchants have been bringing in some new subs, including Martian. So I think it'll be really exciting to see how that team moves forward in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, you didn't mention the random ice block, and I'm really curious to hear about this. Just looking at the matches right now, everyone's a winner, and Aussie Paint Merchants, as you said, faced last week a 15-11 score. It certainly seems pretty close, only one sweep, and very much back and forth, just along the seeds going down. I see Jordan MG subbed in for Sunday, getting the 3-2 win over Quake Lord. Very big win there. Congrats, Jordan, on subbing in and getting that 2-0 start as a sub.
Yeah, I think
Dagger. Oh, go ahead.
I think he swept Seedlock to win it.
Well, that's something else.
I know. Honestly, Jordan is on another level, on an entirely different plane of existence for sweeping Seedlock, and by Quake Lord no less.
Yeah, that's quite the achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the rest, though, Tagger gets a 3-1 win. As great as Bone Masher is, there's a reason why Tagger has his lineups pretty much memed in THL at this point. So a 3-1 win going to him isn't too big a shock. Absolute falling to Maxi Bond. Maxi improving to 4-1. Aussie Pain Merchants is just popping off right now. Three players on the team at 4-1. If Yo Daddy can turn things around, these guys are not only going to be at the top, but they're probably going to be a contender for the entire thing too. And finally, Hazer improving to 2-2, getting that even record. Good to see. Very strong showing too with the 3-0 sweep. So I don't think this is the last that we're going to see these guys play each other. Jay, I'm sure you'd agree with that.
Yep, I don't see a world where Aussie Pain Merchants don't make it to the playoffs. It just depends on which side of the bracket we're on, which will determine when we play each other.
Well, I'm sure Bone Masher, I see you're in the chat. I'm sure you'll love to have your revenge on Tiger. Hopefully your Mozaki won't break next time. It's always hard. But really, if you're gonna lose to anyone, Battle Tagger is probably the least you have to be ashamed of. Dude's insane. Like I can say if Battle Tagger beats anyone on my team, it wouldn't be a shock to me because he's just insane. And I don't think anyone is going to disagree here either on any of their teams as well. So not at all the slightest knock towards you.
The Battle Tagger lineup for a reason.
Exactly. Well, I think that covers this matchup though. Let's move on to the next. Rod, you want to get this one?
Absolutely, sir. If you want to talk close, this is the one you're going to talk about. WTF and the Bash Brothers went at it this week, and it was not really decided in the end. It emerges as a 14-14 tie, leaving each squad with 1 win, 3 losses, and this week's tie. Now, it was very closely fought in the individual matches. As you can see, a bunch of 2-3s and 3-2s. But I do want to call out WTF being able to pull it into such an even position as it is, with 2 subs on the team, Skillets and Quaz, both coming in. Skills? Oh, yeah.
Skittles.
Skittles? Skillets is Skillets
Skittles.
is Skittles. He tried to taste the rainbow, but instead he fell 2-3. On the bottom there, Quaz, however, did emerge 3-1. Looking down in the middle, however, I'm pretty interested. Like we were talking about Labore's lineup, and it had obviously the Giants Shaman, but looking across the way, it seems like it was the ban of the Tax Paladin for Anubinator that really gave him a chance to shine. Putting the rest of Anubinator's lineups through the gauntlet then. And just it's about as close as you can get. Obviously, it's right now for bragging rights as these teams look to sort of continue to rebuild their seasons. But this is a good first step. Fight it close, stop the bleeding, push on.
Something I mentioned too, both of these guys are very close to the final playoff seed in this conference. 2 points and 3 points off respectively.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Any given week.
If they had to get away with points and not lose, this is the best outcome for both of them. Both their seasons are still alive, and they can still make some noise as the season goes on.
Yes, and I think that's the story, basically, the Brown Conference at this point. Even someone like the Pog Merchants, if they have a hot streak to end the season, anyone can make the playoffs from here, and there's still a lot of the season left, a lot of stories to tell.
For sure. Now, I believe that covers the Brown Conference. Let's move on to the Green then. Seth, we haven't heard from you yet. Want to tell us about the Green Conference standings?
Green Conference, it's still a little odd. F2L's in third, which I'm still getting used to, but I'm sure they'll be back soon. I'm not worried about them. But up at the top, we've got Hair Club undefeated with 94 points. Meta Jewelers in second with 87. Overpowered Wild Leaderboard in fourth with 80. Mad Scientist in fifth with 68. And then Golden Hand and Usual Suspect down in the 40s. Sad.
So, the real question, you think, is this going to be the playoffs seeding when the season comes to a close and the postseason starts? Are we going to have these 4 teams making playoffs? Do you guys see there being a shift?
There could definitely be a shift, but the gap's definitely widening. And I think the next week or two are really going to be the determining factors.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
No disrespect to Golden's Hand and Usual Suspects, but that's a pretty large gap to overcome this late in the season. Mad Scientists could also sneak their way in there, but I think these top 4 teams are just battling for seeding at this point.
Yeah, it'll be tough. Keep in mind, as White Delight in the comments mentioned, that the final two seeds are wildcard slots. So it's only the top 3 teams that get a playoff spot guaranteed within their conference. And then the 4th seed could either make it or miss because the 5 seed in the other conference has more points.
One thing to point out is that Owl is pretty far, has a sizable lead over Mancrick's Revenge and the more broadly the 4 through 7 seeds of the Brown Conference. Oh, I think they're poised to take a spot. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to having to type out their name for casting matches in the playoffs if they make it.
Let's just type Owl and then.
No. We got to type out the whole thing. Casters underestimate them. Remember that. Can't be underestimating them. Gotta write the entire thing. It'll be fun. Don't worry. The board won't get mad. We don't have to tell them. They're not watching this.
Okay.
Guys, we love you. Please don't ban me out. Moving on. We have Hair Club versus Meta Jewelers on the screen. Jay, can you tell us a bit more about this?
Now, I think there are a few matches that are interesting. Of course, there's Concerned Moms, which won him the MVP for this week. But one thing I want to draw everyone's attention to is the 1 seed, White Delight, a known control and Reno deck enthusiast against Lasagna, who is a relatively budget player by THL standards and has actually didn't perform too great last season because a lot of the time he just was hard countered by control lineups like the kind that White Delight usually enjoys bringing. But Lasagna was actually able to pull off a 3-1 win, really helping boost his team's score, even though it was not quite enough to secure the win for the week. What he brought is Odd Hunter, Pirate Warrior, Inner Fire Priest, and then Seedlock. What's interesting about these decks is that even though they're faster and play with a much more proactive game plan, they still have the tools to really put pressure on control, demand that they find the answers to secure a win. Like the Juggernaut provides infinite value, Tavish, and go face, even if face plays taunt. Seedlock is just Seedlock, and Inner Fire Priest can make 20/20 totems. And the other another interesting match that really helped Hair Club was Otter's 3-2 win over No Way. 3-2 being 3 games where he did not draw patches, and 2 games where he did. He was telling me about it afterwards, and it did not seem like a fun experience, and it ended with him actually reverse sweeping No Way's Overload Shaman. I think those are the
big by patches. What can we say?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you pull up a reverse sweep.
At least it's not Baku.
At least it's not Baku. Yeah, and as White Delight mentions, this means Memnarch will drop to the 5 seed. This guy was a regular 1 seed the last few seasons. It's crazy to see that he's in the 5 seed on this team now. Kind of crazy.
He just wants to face me the next time we all go together and have the Hair Club against F2L. That's all it is.
Just the thought that Memnarch is a 5 seed, full stop. Like, it just shows how strong Hair Club is. I mean, Memnarch is a regular rank 1 player with both even shaman and decks that aren't even shaman sometimes.
Can I just say, right now, if Hair Club wins it all, though, I support the merch that comes along with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what White Delight designs because I know it's going to be great.
I'd absolutely love to see the same. Love to see it too.
Just seeing concerned mom's big bald head front and center on a shirt. It's great.
Don't you already own one of those? I do.
I have a full wardrobe, but I need another one to complete the set.
Well said.
Quaz, thanks for the sub. 26 months. It is pretty wild out here. And thank you for the support. Now, we have one more matchup in the Green Conference to go over, and that's Mad Scientists versus my own team, F12 Ridian. I swear, this is a sign, guys. This win right here. We're coming back. Had a rocky start to our standards. Coming into this, 2-2. Got a 4-1 win over Mad Scientists. Not at all pushovers, must say. As you can see, it's all almost, or 3 of them went to 5 games. So it was fairly close. And really also shout out to MTG Squirrel for coming in late and subbing for Mad Scientists as well. Okay, White Delight, I see. I have shown when we lose. I'm not going to talk about this to you. I have to I have to hear this all the time. Okay? When we pick player of the week, they're always players against my teams. So I don't need this slander from you. Anyways, someone ban that person and we won't be talking about it anymore. Thanks.
Okay. 1 second.
But really, the one takeaway from this is like there's a lot of bans all over the place. Warlock not getting banned as much here this last week. I believe there was an even lock in there somewhere in these matchups that was not banned either. Corb improving to 5-0. Huge win there. Really just carrying our team at this point. And Number Theory and Catharsis just having excellent seasons overall as well. 4-1. Number Theory getting the first loss of the season for them. But still, 4-1 record is very impressive. So hats off to them. Still surprised that these guys are in 5th place, personally. But with their point total, they can definitely still make playoffs, and they have a good shot at it, I think. Any other comments before we move on to the EU series?
Not
Nope.
for me.
All right, let's move on then. Rotted, we have EU standings to discuss. Tell us about this.
We do. So in Europe, it's a little bit more cozy. There are 6 teams playing in the first inaugural. I guess that would be redundant in THL's first EU series for Wild, and right now it's a very close battle coming down to the wire in terms of playoff positioning. We have, after these 5 weeks, a little agony leading the way at 3-1-1 with 89 points. Everyone's a winner. EU branch is at 3-2 with 82 points. F2L's Celadon mothership is 2-2-1, 77, and in the final playoff spot, as for now, the illustrious Goku #1 team at 3-2. Closely behind, however, we have Safari Wild at 54 points and Bad Tech Cards at 45. Needs a little catch up there at the bottom, but still some work left to do in the season. I wouldn't say anything set at all. I mean, with the #1 seed being as close to number 2 and 3, number 4 being close to 5, it could go any way. Just a lot of very interesting and close competition so far. A lot of very good players. It's been a pleasure to participate, obviously. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, keep in mind, all 6 of these teams are going to make playoffs.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes.
I just dropped the ball on that. I'm sorry.
No,
For some
all
reason, I
good.
thought it was top 4.
So we consider top 4. but decided the top 2 teams will get a bye,
Oh,
and
that's
then
right.
the bottom
I'll
4
just be
teams
dumb.
will have a play-in. Nah, you're fine.
Oh, there it is, guys. So there is honor to be had in fighting for the higher records. You get a little bit of a more secure positioning, but as
Yes,
we can still see, it's very close, pretty much 1 through 5, and then Bad Tech Cars just needs a little bit of work to catch up to that crew.
absolutely. Yeah, and with that, Seth, tell us a bit about our first highlighted matchup.
Alright, so we had the top 2 seeds, everyone's a winner, and a little agony going at it this week. And it was close, all things considered. 12-15, not too shabby, with Taunt, Mad Thanos, and our favorite French player of the week, Hijo, winning for a little agony to seal the week. On everyone's a winner side, Maxa and QB, a couple of friends of the show, also picked up wins for their team.
God, imagine Hijo coming in as a 5 seed. I mean, Lasagna was over there on the other side, so it's not exactly bullying. It's a fair fight, but my goodness.
Yeah, this was a crazy week, and given the standings, some might even suggest it's a finals preview. We didn't get the full preview because Hijo is just a sub, so they were only in for this week. But otherwise, this could be the same matchups that we'll be seeing in a few weeks as well. And who knows how that will go. So keep an eye on them.
Everyone's a winner. NA and EU will both win the whole thing.
I think we all have one thing to say collectively about that. No.
Yes.
Moving on. We have another matchup, 6J. To change the subject, I'll let you take this one. Goku
Okay.
number 1 versus Safari Wild.
Goku number 1. It looks like in the 1 seed, Rotted Zombie's luxurious head of hair, as he describes it, was not enough to help him take the win against Larat in the 1 seed on Safari Wild.
I need to draw better.
That's what they all
Or you
say.
could just stop. You know what I suggest? Stop being poor.
I'll take that under advisement.
I don't think Twitter drama is a segment of the THL show, but I think honestly,
Okay, we're all friends here. It's all for good times.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Sure, but yeah, I'm joking.
But really,
Yeah.
It seemed like a very close matchup for you, Rotted. So
Oh, I was just whining. Please carry on, 6J. Larat's a terrific player, so it is what
In all
it is.
seriousness, Goku and Otters came in with absolutely huge sweeps against King's Bounty and then Silason, who recently hit rank 1 with Even Lock. Then it looks like there was a 1-3 from Burnt and then a 3-1 from Shadow Frog, and Goku number 1 took a solid win, bringing them a bit closer to contention for those top 2 spots, though they still have a bit more work to do.
Wait. I figured it out, 6J. I figured it out.
Yes.
The correct line was, our team name is Goku number 1, and I was just, of course, giving our liege the honor.
yes, tactically losing.
Yes.
Sure.
No.
Whatever makes you feel good about yourself, Rotted.
I do feel good, thank you.
Okay, Goku must be feeling great right now. He's 11-3, I believe, already, which is insane to think about. That means he has 2 sweeps under his belt. No, he would have 3 sweeps. 3 sweeps under his belt already. Actually cracked.
Number 1
Yep.
for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
Goku actually number 1.
I can't divulge too much from our team Discord, obviously, but Goku, since he joined up and took the responsibility, has been putting in so much sort of time and mental effort into prepping and getting his stuff together. So it's well earned, well deserved.
Yeah, and he was throwing a bit of a curveball this week. We'll be talking about it next week. But if you guys just want to preview, check out the lineup he's up against. It's a spicy one. Do we have any other comments to make about this matchup or the EU Wild Series? No? Well,
I got nothing.
I think that wraps up the EU Wild Series and our recaps as well.
Oh,
So
that
we'll be
that lineup sure has a lot of Hearthstone cards in it.
yeah, it does.
120 of them to be exact.
It really does. Definitely check it out. But anyways, that wraps up our recaps for this week, and we'll return to the main screen for our question of the week. And nerfs came a little late, so our question is maybe a little outdated because we're not covering something that was recently announced and we could have. But our question for this time is, what team is most likely to rise into a top 2 seed? So the top 2 seed was used as a threshold, not because it's a playoff spot, but because in the EU Wild Series, since everyone makes the playoffs, we're picking the seeds that can buy. And so we're looking at teams that are not in the top 2 right now, teams that could make it in. And we'll make it a little bit trickier for everyone here. You can't pick your own team.
Are you
Because everyone
kidding
knows
me?
otherwise I'd say F2L.
This is rigged. Stop the count. Stop whatever you have to do. You can't take my content.
It's fine.
Everybody knows Nofin is coming in at the 2 seed. You know.
Seth, I'll have you know, I was actually going to take your content quite literally
Oh, well, go
and
ahead. You're
suggest
more than welcome.
that NoFin 2 could sneak in and take the top 2 spots, one of the top 2 spots in the Brown Conference. I don't know who might fall, but I think they have the biggest shot right now in the Brown Conference to make it to the top 2 seeds. This won't get them a bye, but it'll solidify them in the playoffs even more.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Here's why.
Seth, you can tell us why.
Nobody else on Aussie Pain Merchants, they don't know the strat. They're not copying Battle Tagger. They were doomed before they started this week. It's over for them. We copied Battle Tagger. We're going to win.
I don't know. They might start copying Battle Tagger now. Might not work.
Yes, but Rice Bowl brought Odd Pirate Warrior to a gentleman's tagger match.
I have the screenshots for you.
I don't know about this, guys. I don't know about this. Broadit, who do you have rising up to the top?
So I'm actually going to go in a slightly more continental direction. I know I'm not allowed to say F2L Viridian, but I'm going to say F2L Celadon, actually, over in Europe. The guys you have over there, Marty, are just such strong players, and they've had so many close beats. To emerge 2-2-1 is kind of, I think, an underrepresentation of how well you guys have played. I think, notwithstanding that you're facing my team this week in Goku #1, but I think beyond the obvious loss you're going to take this week, you guys really, I think, are in a good position to keep rising over there in Europe. I think you're just too strong.
I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll have to beat you, so...
I can't have it both ways, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of a juxtaposition you're putting yourself in.
I know it sucks, but I gotta speak with my heart. Maybe I'll really crush bedrooms and then the rest will just go sideways. That'll work, sure. Yeah.
We'll see. Goku still has to say #1, so we'll keep to that.
Yeah. Well, we'll work on the details. We'll get it later when it's actually happening.
Yeah. Seth, besides Nofin, who do you have rising to the top?
Well, since I can't pick my own team, jokes aside, I do have to say, over in Green Conference, F2L is very well positioned. They got off to a slow start, but so did we. We know all about it, and don't expect them to stay below the 2 seed much longer.
Appreciate
mean,
the kind words.
I am also a time traveler, so I can see today's standings, and they're already in the 2 seed. I just expect them to stay there.
Oh, we'll have to see by the end of the week then, won't we?
I mean,
Any
it
final-
rests on 2 of our hosts here to win their matches, so.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And finally, 6J, our guest, what do you think?
I'd also have to go with F12 Viridian. I think this is too strong of a team not to stay in the 2 seed of Green Conference. Not sure if I have
Really?
too much.
Really, the one thing that sticks out to me is despite the extra loss, they're only 4 points behind second place. So that means that there has been a lot of points made up in those losses to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not too far off, like you guys said. And really, I appreciate the word or the vote of confidence, I should say. Not to get confused with the vote of some confidence for the team in another series. But thank you for that. And with that, that wraps up the show. Yes, wild copium competitive two-head read rice bowl. You did it. You got us to say it. I
But
hope you're proud of yourself.
now that the nerfs have been announced, Wild Copium saved Copium.
Maybe. We'll have to add Hopium next to the Discord server, it seems.
Absolutely.
Hoping for the best.
Don't worry. When everyone's a winner, gets the title back, we'll bring Hopium in. Depends on what the rest
We'll
of the
see.
team decides.
We'll see about that. Well, anyways, any final words from you guys, Rodit?
Well, I think that's what's going to be on everyone's mind until the actual changes and nerfs and the ban are announced. Like, what's going to happen and how will the format respond? I'm really looking forward to next week, both in terms of the THL decks that are submitted and matches that are played, but then also what we talk about on here, because holy moly, it's going to be a world of change, I think.
Yeah, here's hoping. Seth?
I gotta agree with Rotted. I'm excited for the post-patch meta. I think there's a lot to explore, and I'm on the wild saved Hopium.
Aren't we all? Jay, are you also on the Hopium train? I believe you are, right?
I am. And one other comment I have to say: goodbye,
Go for it.
Lucia. You won't be missed.
You will not be missed.
That is my mind mommy, and don't you talk bad about her ever again.
Seth, you want to share her with the rest of the class then?
Now!
No.
Maybe you should not have shared your thoughts.
Okay, we're just kicking Seth from the show, and he won't be back next week.
Let me find an old tweet from Blizzard. 1 second. Okay, I have found the Hearthstone tweet, and it reads, "They don't have friends, they've got family." I sent the tweet in the chat. So Hearthstone has canonically announced that Mindrender Lucia has no friends.
It's true.
This is the Play Hearthstone Twitter account is part of Warcraft lore now.
And there you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye, Lucia. You won't be missed. And Seth, you're banned from this show as of this week.
You had a good run. GG's, Seth.
Hey,
Anyways,
I made it longer than BMK.
proud of you.
Boom goes the dynamite.
With that said, yeah, thanks again, guys, for dropping by. Appreciate all of you in the chat for also being here. We'll see you next week. And until then, take care.